Hello and welcome back to another episode of Media Munchers. I'm Mathian,
And I'm Adrian.
and we have a lot to do today, but I'm excited. It's been a minute since we had a long podcast. We're gonna get right into it with news. It seems to be The Rock's day because I just have a lot of news stories just piled up involving him. This man just wants to continue to be a box office beast, and so he's gonna make that happen, I guess. The first thing I wanted to start off with was just your thoughts on him making that announcement after the Rust shooting to use rubber guns in his movie going forward.
Yeah.
Do you think do you know the full context of everything that happened, or at least like you're generally aware of what the story is on
Yeah,
with that
I've
set?
heard the story a few times.
Right.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have, since it's been in the news cycle so much.
Mhm.
I think the larger question to be made with this is like, I'm no props master or gun expert or anything like that, but I think there have been incidents throughout the decades, and yes, this happened, and this is horrible oversight by everyone on the production, especially people who are in charge of taking care of these guns.
Yeah, definitely.
But at the same time, there's been how many productions and how many like blanks fired and like safely, you know what I mean? So at the same time, it's like, yeah, why take the risk? But on the other hand, it's been done safely for seemingly decades now. You know what I mean? How many bullets have been shot that are not real? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I wonder how much of a burden that's going to be for, I mean, sure, with The Rock, he doesn't have a problem because I'm sure he can have infinite money thrown into After Effects and whatever, you know what I mean? Like in post-production. But for smaller sets who rely on like how real these like things look, I wonder if you think there's going to be big pressure on everyone to move to rubber guns in the industry. And if so, do you think that's a good idea, or do you think it's more of a burden?
I think ultimately, safety over everything.
Of course.
Now, it is like a bigger burden for the lower budget productions because they don't have the necessary funds to maybe get because the people who were on the Rust set they weren't experienced enough.
Yeah, that's what they were saying,
right? And they weren't even the right.
Like they didn't have the right qualifications, right? On top of all that, there was a lot of shortcuts being taken on that set. I heard like a lot of like just over like they're just overlooking things and not paying attention to safety protocols a lot.
Yeah.
So that's a very specific case. But I was just wondering if The Rock doing that would put pressure on everyone else to move to rubber. You know what I mean?
I think so.
Hopefully it looks good. That's all that matters. Because like safety over everything, like you said, like I don't mind if a set uses rubber guns, but like I hope it looks real in post. You know what I mean? So,
I think it does, and I think with the technology that we have nowadays, that
shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, it shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, I just hope that if people do choose to use the real fake guns, like with blanks and all that, that it's done safely and that we can still do that and it doesn't completely get banned. But we'll see. It's very nuanced. Yeah. In lighter news, well, lighter if you can call it that, I want you to introduce me to this drama with
Vin Diesel.
When Vin Diesel and The Rock on Instagram.
So, apparently they've had like this beef for a couple years, right?
I think since like Fast 5 almost, or maybe around there, a little after.
7 maybe.
7 is when it boiled over, for sure.
Yeah. He wasn't in the last one, right? 9.
No, he wasn't in 9 because they did the spin-off Hobbs and Shaw, which I'm very curious how much like whose intellectual property is Fast and Furious? Is it Vin Diesel's baby? Do you think he's a huge producer on it at the very least, right?
I think now, probably.
Yeah, maybe not at the beginning. So I'm like, I wonder how much of like the slice of pie that he even got for that, because like is it still his franchise even though it's the spin-off? Like I don't know, but I wonder how much bad blood that caused. But
because apparently he's now somewhat kind of caving. He posted on Instagram he wants The Rock back in production.
Do you think it has anything to do with the performance of the last movie?
I think a little bit probably.
Yeah.
But also, no, yeah.
It for sure does.
I think that.
Because he's a box office juggernaut. Like, even if the movie's stupid corny, like I'm gonna go see it if The Rock's in it for sure.
Yeah.
Because now I think about it, I didn't see 9. I wanted to, but I didn't. We were just coming out of the pandemic still, or like you know what I mean. And I was just like, eh. And you didn't have a desire.
I wasn't for it.
You weren't at all. You were not about that movie.
It looked bad, and it was.
Oh, because you saw it, right?
Yeah, I did.
Jeez, I still need to see it. But yeah, The Rock, man. That's going to be real interesting. That photo they used, I'll put it up on screen. That photo they used is really bizarre. He chose that. Vin Diesel chose to post that on Instagram. That was so bizarre. Again, in our little, third story about The Rock, I saw on Reddit the other day, and here it is on movieweb.com, that The Rock, Gal Gadot, and Ryan Reynolds are trying to, like tease a crossover with DC and Marvel. Like, The Rock was getting interviewed by someone on, I think, in Variety or something. And he said, quote, I turned to Ryan Reynolds and Gal Gadot, and I said, there should be a crossover. We could be the ones to possibly make it happen. We'll see what happens. So he threw it out there. Obviously, this man has a lot of pull in Hollywood. He's like a megastar.
Yeah.
I don't want to say how likely, But what do you think it would take really for him to pull that together? What timetable are we looking at if those three of those people got together and decided it needed to happen?
I think maybe 5-7 years.
I think that's a good estimate. Yeah, I don't think it would take a decade, but it's definitely not happening next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, what exactly?
Especially with how busy they all are.
Yeah, they all have like 50,000 movies to do at any given moment. And you know what's funny? Ryan Reynolds is also he's planning to take a break, spend more time with his children. So I wonder how that's going to affect his shooting schedule going forward. Like, is he going to drop it to one movie a year or just no movies at all?
Yeah, I wonder, because recently he did come out and say that Deadpool's still in production and still being worked on.
Deadpool 3 now.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really hope they can make it happen. I really don't know how soon it would be other than that 5 to 7 year estimate. And that's if they get the ball rolling like today. Like, there would be so many planned meetings. Another argument I saw in the comment section was someone said that they don't think Feige and Marvel would go for it because, technically speaking, they might have more to lose. Because, like, Marvel has an established universe, whereas DC is still stumbling to get one going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
you can kind of say the same with what they pulled off with Sony.
That's a good point. You mean like a sharing agreement type beat?
Yeah. Well, because so they had the rights to Spider-Man, and their movies started to plummet. So when Marvel came in and they agreed upon their deal,
it made Sony. It put them in a better
elevated
position.
both of them.
Okay,
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah.
So I guess potentially they could work
spin
out
it to the
some
to
kind
the
of
advantage
deal.
of both studios. They could. My question is, it would probably have to be a one-off event, and maybe with the possibility of a future thing.
Yeah.
But that movie would have to make like $2 billion, like no questions asked. Like, it would have to. It would have to be like on some Endgame, Infinity War stuff for it to be worth it.
Yeah, I wonder who on the DC side would be a part of that.
Exactly, especially with all the stuff with Henry Cavill,
Mm-hmm.
which we'll get into later. With him basically not really being asked to come back to play Superman,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe they're gonna go in a new direction and recast, kind of like what they're doing with Batman stuff.
Right.
Because it doesn't look like. I mean, he's working. He's getting plenty of work, but it doesn't look like he's coming back. So I really wonder what that roster would look like. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So who would you want to see?
Definitely not Ezra Miller.
You just don't like him, or
No, not to get him into him as a person, but his just a version of Flash.
you just don't like that portrayal?
Not really.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's hit and misses in DC. They need to start hitting more than they miss.
Yeah.
But moving on to Henry Cavill news, because I thought this was interesting. It was there was a huge freaking article in Hollywood Reporter about him, and they're like, going into all his history, his work ethic, all that great stuff. The excerpts that I cared about were basically the rumors of stuff of like potential fan casting of him playing Captain Britain, which is a character I don't know much about, but I know it's kind of like an analogous to Captain America, but like with Britain's,
something of
hero.
that effect, I think.
So a quote from this article says, and if Superman is in a holding pattern, because like we mentioned earlier, what about Cavill switching teams and joining, say, a Marvel movie? Which character, hypothetically speaking, would he want to play? He said, he's never going to play a Marvel character that's being played by someone else. We all know that. But since everyone's been doing such an amazing job, he, however, has the internet, and he's seen the rumors about Captain Britain, and he thinks it would be loads of fun to do a cool modernized version of that. I like how they modernized Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
And he says there's something fun about that, and I do love being British. So I was like, nice.
Yeah.
Cool dude. I really like him as a person.
Yeah.
Would you like to see that, or like, do you think he'd be better served playing someone else we haven't seen cast yet in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or do you even think he needs to be in the MCU? You know what I mean? Like, or he's just gonna.
I think it would be cool
Mm-hmm.
to have that character. I don't know if he's necessarily right, because I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the character either. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good leading role.
He's a good leading man for
Type of
sure.
guy, yeah.
Yeah. I just want to see him interact with MCU people. I don't really care in what capacity.
That'd
you know
be
what I mean?
cool.
Yeah. And then you know what? They always do this, like especially with this heavy Superman references in
in
Eternals, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they could make sly a little, tongue-in-cheek remarks to him.
Yeah,
definitely. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I don't think Captain Britain wears a cape. I'm pretty confident they could say that.
He doesn't.
And they can make a similar, joke like they did in Eternals or something like that. They could do a spin on it.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a neat little article. So we're going to take a small break, and then when we get back, we're going to get into some trailers. All right? We're back, and we're going to get into this Morbius trailer, and let's get into that review. You ready, Big Apple?
Yep.
Do it. Okay. Huh. Okay, first of all, wow. Yeah, the animation was just on point. That was crazy good.
Yeah.
You know what I've learned the hard way with Disney Pixar is that they really love taking their amazing animation and spinning it into a really dramatic, over-the-top trailer. And I have a feeling that as good as this looks, like the movie's just gonna be gags and jokes and like not that serious. But I could be wrong because there's some really good shots in here that seem like they kind of take it seriously. But I also see the gags and I see the stuff for the kids, which I get it. You know, I was a kid when I got introduced to Buzz, but I'm like, I'm cautiously optimistic about this. Like it could be really good, but then at the same time, it could be like I don't know.
Yeah.
This is my first time seeing it. What are your thoughts?
So I've actually seen the trailer already, but I don't know. I'm into it.
Yeah, I'm into it too. I'm not gonna not see it. Yeah. Like I'm definitely gonna go see it. I'm like, what are we actually gonna see? Because when he was going for takeoff, I was like, are we just gonna see him like crash? Like, is this gonna be a dramatic thing where he crashes into like I don't know, Toy Story World? But at the same time, no, this is a telling of the lore of what that action figure is based off of.
Yeah, of Buzz Lightyear,
which is trippy. Like that's really weird. Like I'm trying to think of an analogy, but I can't. But that's bizarre because all of them were made up for the movie Toy Story. What if this spirals like into a bunch of spin-offs of just the toys in there?
It could.
That'd be interesting.
What was your opinion on the last Toy Story?
4?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I don't know. How do I say this sweetly? I think that it wasn't. I don't think anyone asked for it, to be honest. I do think they probably. I don't even remember the numbers, but I feel like it was kind of cash grabby. I'm sure they made a lot of money off of it. Nostalgia sells, you know.
Yeah.
Some parts were really funny, and other parts were like it was like Toy Story for a new generation. You know what I mean? It was more modernized. It was like Woody and all of them were going through their. I don't know if it was like an identity crisis, if you can call it that, but like it was just I don't know. It felt unnecessary. Is my bottom line. Like it was nice.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it more than 3 because 3 like made me bawl, and I didn't even finish. I don't even think I skimmed through 3. I still haven't seen 3 in its entirety. Because,
really?
Because I have this weird thing where I don't finish like trilogies. Like I still haven't seen the 7th Harry Potter movie or finished the 7th book.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't want things to end. But this was weird because they gave me what I wanted and kept it going, and now I'm like, no, I don't want that. Like the story should have ended.
Yeah.
So my opinion on the 4th one is like it shouldn't have happened.
Oh, okay.
Did you enjoy it though?
Yeah, I did. I think obviously like the trilogy, the first 3 they were really cleanly put together.
Yeah.
And the 3rd one really capped off that whole sort of arc that they had.
Of course.
Throughout, but the 4th one I thought did add to Woody and kind of fleshed out a bit more of something I didn't really know that they could go into.
Yeah. It did a good job of doing that, right? It didn't feel completely like soulless or whatever. But it did expand upon Woody, and I appreciated that. And it was interesting. I like the new characters they introduced. I think the antique shop was a really great location to get a lot of fun stuff going. That was really smart. So I'm not saying it was a bad movie. I'm just saying like it's the movie I didn't think I needed. You know what I mean? But it was cool. It was a welcome like addition to the trilogy. I don't know if you can call it that anymore. But yeah, I am excited to see that because it seems like they're taking the lore of Buzz Lightyear seriously.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna like he's not gonna end up in Andy's room or whatever. You know what I mean? So I wonder where this can go because as far as I know, it's a fictional character like through and through. Like it was made for Toy Story. So like they're developing a whole world around it, which is really interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing where that goes. Do you think we're gonna see his arch nemesis? We have to, right?
Oh,
is it
Zurg?
Zurg, right, or something like that? Starts with a Z.
I think we will.
At some point.
I don't know if he might be the villain of the movie.
He might. They didn't show any hints at it, which is fine.
What do you think of Chris Evans as the voice?
You know what's funny? I didn't know it was him.
Yeah.
But I felt that energy, so it makes sense. I was like, what is this Captain and Buzz Lightyear shit? And then sure enough, you just told me it's him. Because he looked at the suit, and I'm like, what? And then like they didn't say the line like at the end of Age of Ultron. He didn't say Avengers Assemble. He didn't say Infinity and Beyond. He just said to Infinity. Yeah. I was like, well, this is some Captain America vibes right here. And then sure enough, that's hilarious. Yeah. Then if that's the case, I think that's really good casting. It works. It is the heroic type, you know?
I think so. It's definitely different than who was it? Ted Allen? Or Tim Allen?
Oh, Tim.
I always get him.
I
think
it's
Tim.
Too.
I think it's Tim.
I think it's Tim. Yeah.
Because Ted Allen is Chopped.
Chopped?
From the Food Network.
Oh, yeah. I thought you meant like he got freaking amputated or something. No, that's funny. I think it works. I think I still need to hear more of it. I only heard him say like a word or two.
Right, yeah. Well, he said and.
There you go.
Just cut out.
And then cut out. So there you go. That doesn't give me much to go off of Big Apple.
Yeah, definitely.
But the idea of him voicing him sounds great. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm really looking forward to that.
I think there were some Star Wars references too.
Was it really? Well, I really enjoyed. Here's a really nerdy thing. I was like for a second I was like, why does he have heat shields? Why is he going to the sun? I'm like, oh, he's using it as a gravity slingshot to get more momentum. I'm like, that's really cool. I really like that they're leaning into the sci-fi aspect of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too.
That's neat. Which one are we looking at? What Morbius are we getting into? The top one or the? Those are the first two. These are reviews. Oh, do you want that one? Gotcha. Let's do it. Morbius time. Let's do it. Hold on. Can we pause? This probably won't even make it to the review. You know, it will. I'm gonna put it in. How many freaking trailers for a superhero movie start off with like a piano key and a dramatic thump going, and it's just like
Age of Ultron, dude.
I know that's for sure one of them, but I feel like it's more than just that. I feel like I hear this all the time. I think Infinity War, or was it Endgame? I don't know. It was one of them. There's
Infinity
too many.
War, I think.
There's too many that start like that. Stop. It works though. I'm captivated. All right, let's go. See Venom.
Yeah, he did.
Sony, which is it? Are we sharing the universe or are we not? Because I see Spider-Man in the background, and let's get a look at that suit again.
Oh, the painting on the brick house.
That was the painting, on the brick wall.
Yeah.
So wait, did you see what suit that was?
Yeah, it's the Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire version.
Interesting. So now my mind is sufficiently effed because
Yeah.
why is his version showing up in a seemingly Sony part of the cinematic universe?
Right.
Is Morbius from the Raimi verse? Or
Well, I think this might play into the what's going on in No Way Home.
It undoubtedly does, but it leads to more questions than answers. Like, well, damn it, which universe is he in? I think it's whatever suits the studio's fancy at any given time.
Probably.
Oh man. That trailer did a lot more to convince me that this would work as a concept, because it's kind of like the hero's journey. Not really. I mean, in a way, like he allegedly is a force for good, being a doctor before the incident, which I really want to see how they explain him cutting his hand and exposing his blood to a bunch of bats in a cave gives him vampire powers.
Right.
It's gonna be really interesting to see that. But you know what? It's the trailer's pretty nice. I like the visual effects a lot. I haven't seen any vampire style. Did you see Blade?
No.
I didn't. So
maybe parts, but not.
I've only ever seen him hold the sword dramatically.
Mm.
But anyway, I've never seen any vampires in like this modern take on it, like where it's like more of a superhero type thing.
Yeah.
As opposed to like a Halloween horror thing. So he's flying. Wasn't expecting that. I was like, okay, cool, interesting. I think the tie-ins are gonna be interesting too, because if Michael Keaton's Vulture's there, then you would think, oh, okay, so this is the MCU. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
so weird how they like separate, but like in the same universe. Or
yeah. Do you think maybe this means that Spider-Man is after No Way Home will no longer be in the MCU?
I think Sony's positioning themselves to be like that. Like I think they're really shooting for like, okay, well, unless another arrangement's worked out, like we're all gonna have our little toys and our little universe, and you can't do anything about it, Marvel. So suck it. You know what I mean? So I do think that's what they're setting up for. Whether that stays or not, I hope we can continue to keep sharing. But it's really interesting. There's a lot of there's a lot of rods in the fire with this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
On the whole, I'm definitely gonna see it. It looks interesting. The trailer does enough for you to kind of sympathize with him. It's really nice seeing Leto in something that's not that Joker performance. I think that's all I've ever seen him in.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen him in anything else? Did you like him?
Yeah, Blade Runner 2049.
I mean, I saw him there too, but I don't know. I didn't remember him. It's been a long time.
He didn't have like a big part
for sure. I mean, I think
wise.
Batista was in 2049, but I don't really remember him for that. You know what I mean? So I don't remember Leto from that, but hopefully it's great. We'll see. I don't know. What are you looking forward to most, or what did it for you in that trailer?
Not much really.
Yeah.
Honestly, it kind of seemed kind of like a generic superhero movie in a lot of ways.
Yeah, the only thing that was different was his abilities and what he's about.
Yeah.
And then also like he's conflicted, I don't want to hurt people, but at the same time, like I have tendencies, I have a bloodlust. Mm-hmm. And he made that joke about Venom at the end. I'm like, okay, so he's gonna crack wise
weird.
now. I was like, all right. Like I thought he was a more like serious. Whatever. I mean, it was interesting. Anyway, that's that. We'll see how it is. You know, maybe we're proved like really wrong and it's like amazing. But Sony, I don't know. The track record is iffy. You ready to get into this Eternals review? You're done dying? I'm just kidding. Yeah, you're good. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into this review. Big Apple. I know you got your notes. I want to hear your initial thoughts on this, man. Tell me what you thought, because I didn't get to see it twice. You only saw it the one time, right?
Yeah, I only saw it once.
Okay, and so
you said you saw it twice?
No, I did not get to see it twice. You did not. And what I'm saying is, I still have I thought about it a lot, and this movie wasn't so dense, like plot wise, that I couldn't remember what was going on. So I actually didn't have such a hard time recalling like things I did and didn't like. But we're gonna get into that. What did you like, Big Apple? Or what are your initial thoughts?
So I appreciated it for the high concept sci-fi aspects that it was going for. How it was asking the existential question of like what's right or wrong for them to do.
Yeah, the morality. I love that. That was good.
I like the epicness of the Eternals or of the Celestials. How giant they were in ratio.
Yeah, I mean, I really love that the size of like maybe their face was like all of Earth. It's like what? Yeah, that was really epic seeing them like. Whoa. I really love that. Anytime the Celestials are on screen, I was like, ooh, tell me more. So yeah, that was really tight. I think all of that was great. All of that worked for me. But I said this coming out of the theater, and I stand by it. I really think this should have been a Disney Plus show, and they didn't do it for whatever reason they didn't. But like, there was too many characters, and like, not all of them got their due diligence, and that's fine. That happens in ensemble casts. But like, we didn't. You know, it's not an Infinity Endgame thing where like we had plenty of movies to build these people up and give them arcs that mattered. Like we all had to figure it out this movie, like in an hour and some change or 2 hours, whatever it was, and that didn't do everyone justice. I mean, I think Cersei was a little bland at times. Like, I really enjoyed her when she was teaching or when she was talking about things she was passionate about. Other than that, the whole movie, she was just kind of, like, generally lost. And, like, which is fine. I mean, that was most of them. They don't really know what their purpose is outside of killing deviants, right? So all of that setup and manipulation worked. You know, the whole, like, puppets, like, questioning everything. All of that worked. But it hinged so much on her and Icarus' story. And Icarus was fine, too. He wasn't that remarkable. I really enjoyed everyone's powers and, like, seeing, like, you know, speedsters and all that. But like, just it felt like too much in like too little time. But I have written down right here the sex scene was a first for Marvel, which we talked about it.
Well, yeah. Well, Iron Man did have something of a sex scene.
Yeah, they alluded to it. It's like the morning after type. Yeah. I mean, but this was like actual intercourse on screen, and I was like, whoa. I mean, I was there with my parents, so it was a little more awkward. I was like, okay, all right, Marvel, okay. Anyway, they were just horny when they wrote the script. It's fine. I don't know. The ending was weird. I really enjoyed. What was his Kingo? Was his name?
Yeah, Kingo. Kumail Nanjiani.
There you go. I enjoyed his character a lot. It was great comedic relief. What was his buddy's name too? Was it? His assistant. I forget his assistant's name. He was fucking hilarious. I really loved him. He's like, I think it was really sweet at the end when he
Karun.
Karun, yeah. It was really sweet at the end when he thanked the Eternals for their service, even though like all of humanity was about to die. I was like, what a guy. But what I didn't like was how he just like totally sat out the third act. It was so weird. Like he was
I think it made sense for his character though.
It did. Like it showed where his priorities laid.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, what a nothing like setup. I don't know. But I think we talked about that too, is that there's so many characters and you could tell they're grappling with that. Like we can't have all 14 or however many it was, you know, standing in line in every scene. Like we have to focus on certain groups and certain things. I think the Sprite conflict worked really well. I really enjoyed that she didn't like being, you know, she was so mentally mature. She didn't like being put in the body of a kid, which was interesting. Like, what kind of reason would the Celestials need to have a kid version of a fully grown
I wonder
adult?
if maybe they'll delve deeper into that in the sequel.
Yeah. And then she's supposed to be a human now. That's a lingering question. No more abilities, you think? No more what she could do again? Like make fireworks?
She was able to,
like she was Loki essentially.
I think so.
She could like camouflage people and make things look different.
Yeah. She was an illusion artist.
There you go.
Something like that.
So like I wonder if those remain with her. I don't think they would. And she's gonna die. They already told her. Yeah. I think that whole thing at the end. What did you think about them coming together and joining powers at the last second. Like I didn't even see them put a bracelet.
Unimind?
Yeah, the Unimind. I didn't even see them put a bracelet on Icarus. Like how did he contribute to that?
Right.
That was so weird.
I'm not sure.
And then
that might be to maybe Druig's powers had something to do with
maybe. But I don't think he controlled Icarus. I don't think he can control other. Can he control other?
I don't know.
I don't think he could.
Well, somehow his powers were supposed to work in conjunction with the bracelets, right?
Yeah, because they needed him for it. I recall. Yeah, you're right. I think he was helping out there. Yeah.
So what did you think of the story change with Icarus? It being revealed that he had.
I felt two ways about it. On one hand, it was cool that there was a traitor in the group. Traitor, if you can call it that. Like because they drop it from the beginning. They're like, oh, like Salma Hayek's character was the Ajax.
Yeah.
She was like, I can tell your loyalty's strong, but like, go out, live a human life, tell her you're in love. But he's like, at the end of the day, he was always programmed to be like the Boy Scout. Like, I'm always going to follow my orders. I'm always going to do that. And he really interpreted that to the extreme. You know what I mean? But then therein lies that morality question again. It's like he's hurting his own kind to help his masters, right? And it's like, was that the right thing to do? Because like for us on the surface, the audience, we're like, oh, well, why would you do that? Why would you hurt your mother, your leader, that kind of figure? You know what I mean? But on the other hand, like they're just robots programmed to do what they got to do, and they so happen to like take on the feelings and emotions of humans. It seemed, whether that was from being around them too much or whatever.
Right.
But then at the same time, it seemed like he fell in love with Cersei from the moment he woke up from his chamber, like as they got reset and were sent to Earth. So I don't know. There's some play there.
Yeah, it could be like a destiny sort of thing.
Right. Like how many cycles have they done this, or who's fallen in love with who in different cycles? You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel a couple ways about it, but I think the little traitor twist at the end, I was like, okay, it's kind of came out of nowhere because the movie to me felt like a bunch of different chapters in a bunch of different directions. Like it was a movie about this, it was a movie about that. We have a quest to do, and then like now it's like a murder mystery, and it's like what's going on? Like there was just a lot happening, and I really think it would have benefited. I keep going back to it, but it's true. It
well, I think it could have at least used maybe 20 more minutes, maybe 20 or 30
to flesh a couple more things out.
Yeah, but I don't know that it necessarily needs a series, because also I think that might take away from the scope of what the Eternals is supposed to be, and like them having a lower budget, or like the budget being more spread out, that might take away from like the visuals,
maybe,
as well as from like the amount of audience you get.
I suppose you're saying like if they didn't inject all of this like lore into us in one sitting, that we wouldn't have been as intrigued to see where they're going forward. Maybe. I don't know, but Marvel has so much money. I feel like the whole budget thing is an excuse, because like what's the budget of this movie? They could have split that between 6-hour-long episodes. You know what I mean? Like the visuals are still the visuals, the VFX. Like they don't have to be there that much longer. But if we spent more time on the ground getting to know these characters, like just a little more dialogue here, a little dialogue there, like a little more backstory, it would have helped us to like, I don't know, digest them better. Because you're supposed to just kind of like buy everything that's there. Like Gilgamesh got virtually no like fleshing out.
Yeah, I thought his story with Athena was one of the more interesting.
Yeah,
stories.
That was really sweet.
Overall.
That could have easily been one episode. Like, what are the troubles they had to go through for him dealing with her episodes? Being a caregiver. Like all of that was hinted towards, and it was really sweet. So like, seeing from the past to like now, how he stops her, and he's like he knows how to handle her. He's like, been with her so long, and she's so grateful, and they're great friends. That was all really sweet. And it's just like boom, it was like a passing scene, if anything like that. So I understand there was constraints and limitations, and Feige probably just wanted to be like, all right, everybody catch up, or we're gonna do cooler stuff now. Get ready. You know what I mean? I heard a lot of stuff like there was a lot of rug pulling and reveals at the end from the Celestials to Cersei. And it's like, how much of that was lies too? Because if you can lie in the first place, you can lie again with an explainer. You know what I mean? What is going on? So I'm really looking forward to seeing where they go from there, and like what more truths are revealed and stuff. Maybe we find out how Nowhere died, or whatever that Celestial was. You know what I mean?
Nowhere.
So I'm really interested to see all that. Overall, it was okay. I don't know. I feel like there's some things that could have been done better for sure. How did you feel about that post-credit scene? Like I another thing too. Dane Whitman, Black Knight, all of that was just such a like D or just E plot. They were just like, we're setting this character up, like whatever. Like,
I thought it was at least smart of them to
throw it in there.
To throw it in there, because he did kind of feel like a lesser character to the others,
which is fine. But
and I think that makes sense for the overall story.
It did,
but to have that at that little tag at the end kind of made his character make a little more sense within
Yeah,
the overall
that really
story.
paid off his whole existence, if I'm being real. Because if
Yeah.
that didn't happen, we're like, what is this dude? What are we doing here? And okay, how do you feel about Star Fox then?
I thought that was cool. So it wasn't until after this movie that I didn't know. Apparently he's Thanos' brother.
Interesting. I heard murmurs about that too, but obviously the resemblance isn't there. But I think that's because
Right,
Thanos is what was it?
He's from Titan, but he's also part deviant.
Yeah,
at least
exactly.
in the comic.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's why he looks like that.
Yeah.
I thought that's interesting that he's his brother, and like, do you think he knows that at the point of filming or at the point of the story?
What was his name? The
little dwarf elf thing.
Yeah, that guy.
The little
He had said it in the
announcement
post-credit scene.
Oh, I didn't.
That was one of the names he had thrown out.
Oh, I don't remember hearing that, but yeah, there was a lot going on. I think that's interesting. I wonder what they can do with it. There was other people postulating that since he seems to be like a prime eternal, someone who like is either done with their job or like left their station.
Right.
Why did that happen? What are his motives? Like, is he gonna be a friend or foe type beat? You know what I mean? I'm really interested to see where it goes with that. It threw me off that it was Harry Styles. I was like, okay.
Yeah, dude.
I was like, all right, cool, I guess. Interesting.
Apparently, they had been talking about him for a while, being a part of the MCU.
Just they didn't know what capacity they had asked him. Interesting. It's interesting. You want to talk to me about your theory?
Well, first, also,
yeah, what did we miss?
Did you know who the voice was, talking to Dane Whitman in that post-credit scene?
No, who was it?
So I had thought it was from What If the.
Oh, you thought it was? Yeah, you did think it was
Jeffrey Wright's
Jeffrey
character.
Wright, yeah, the Watcher, yeah.
Yeah, the Watcher. But apparently, Chloe Zhao revealed this in an interview. It's apparently Mahershala Ali as Blade.
Oh.
Because it was announced a while back that he was going to be
Blade.
Blade in his own movie.
So he's just any Blade ever? He's just in every Blade, or?
Blade the character.
I know.
Yeah,
that's the
what
joke.
are you talking?
Is he just in anything that's a sword that resembles a blade? That's Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
I'm confused. How does he?
Yeah.
How is he in a sword talking to Dane Whitman's character?
No. He's in like a background, like he's off screen.
Oh, he's literally there in person.
It wasn't the sword.
I thought the sword was talking to him.
No.
That was so weird. Like, why is Blade in a blade right now? This is so weird. That's so. So he's just off screen. Like, you ready for your adventure, bud? Like,
yeah, because he had he's like, are you sure you're ready for the because the blade that Dane Whitman was reaching for is his blade, which is the ebony blade, which is supposed to give him his powers or whatever.
Wow.
But yeah,
that's so trippy. Look at all these Easter eggs they're planning on me. Can't handle all of these, Big A. Too many. No, that's cool. I like all the setup they're doing.
Another question I had was, what do you think this means regarding Thanos' whole plan back in Infinity War? Do you think in any way that this kind of changes your perspective on whether or not he was right or wrong?
I think that hinges on the fact if Thanos even knew this was happening in the first place.
Right, because he could have been part deviant, maybe like his father or his mother.
I don't think the way Thanos, if what he said is true in his backstory, I don't think he ever grew up on a planet where he played the role of the deviant and was trying to like mess up Eternal's missions to farm a planet. You know what I mean? I don't think that's what his position was. I don't think he necessarily knew about that. Now, if at some point he put on, like some of the stones that and by the time he got all 6, he had this cosmic wisdom that allowed him to be sure of his quest, maybe. But I don't think he was like, when people are like, oh, Thanos was right. Like, I don't think that he was right or, justified in that he knew about all of these events happening. If anything, I would argue that Thanos might actually be okay with the culling of some planets. Because, that's less resources for you to worry about. That's actually adding to the renewing of the universe, you know what I mean? And making more resources for other planets and people. Now, it depends on how often this happens and how many planets get farmed. But it was like once a million years that a new Celestial was born, or once a billion or something like that.
Something like that.
I mean, that's a pretty long time. Anyway, I don't think that Thanos was like helping humanity out by halving everyone's population and slowing down the process of renewing the universe.
Right.
Because a lot of people were saying, even if the population was halved, look how fast we got here in the first place. Like, it's still pretty exponential. We'd be back there in 20, 30 years' time, maybe longer, but we'd be back up to these crazy numbers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't think that retroactively makes Thanos like Jesus on Earth or something. Like I don't think that.
No, I don't think he was like maybe like planning that out, but I think potentially like that could have been something that happened as a result of him halving the population of all existence.
You thinking what could have happened?
That it would have slowed the
the process down. Oh yeah, it would have. It literally would have, because there'd be less intelligent life beating the new celestial.
Right.
But so it would have slowed it down, but it wouldn't have stopped it entirely.
No.
So I don't know. Thanos is just a universal procrastinator. It sounds like. But yeah, overall, like it was alright. The movie wasn't like a knock everything out of the park. It wasn't super stellar for me, but it got its job done. It set up some stuff and showed us some pretty cool visuals while they were at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd say it's pretty middle of the road on like my overall rankings for MCU movies. You know what I mean? I don't know. What about you? Is it higher up for you? Did you really
I don't know.
it?
I feel like it would take another viewing or two to really settle on a position whether or not I would give it less than or higher than a C. Cause like I want to give it maybe like a B plus, but I don't know.
I guess it also depends on what you're grading it on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a movie as a whole, or like what it does for the universe, or whatever. Or, I don't know, combination of the two. There's so many variables you can throw at these things, you know.
Yeah.
So I understand what you mean. Maybe another watch or two would benefit it. We'll see when it hits Disney Plus. We'll check it out again.
Yeah, Shang-Chi comes out this Friday.
Heck yeah. You saw him trolling on Twitter with the
God,
spoilers. Dude, I'm still worried about spoilers, because we all basically know, or we have a good idea of what's going to be in No Way Home, but I still want to be surprised when I see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to get into these Visions, Big Apple?
Sure, man.
So, we're going to talk about Visions Episode 5, The Ninth Jedi. The basic premise of this episode is that in this universe, in this telling of Star Wars, basically virtually all the Jedis have been like wiped out, and especially like the Masters and stuff. So all that lies are like people who are scattered. They call them like masterless Jedis, people just Padawans without masters or whatever. And a man by the name of Juro, I think he has another name too. He basically calls up upon people in the universe, these masterless
Margrave.
The Margrave, that's what they called him. And he calls up upon these people and he's like, "Yo, you don't got a master? Come over here. We'll get you a lightsaber. We'll get you going." Right? Trying to start a little resistance, trying to fight back whatever evils in this universe, whatever version of the Sith they have. And basically, there's also a little B plot where there's a sabersmith who's been contracted by, assuming, the Margrave. And he's been like tasked with creating, I don't know, 8 or 9 lightsabers, something like that. And he's got to send his daughter to deliver them to the Margrave to, teach these new generation of Jedi. Where the spicy tea occurs is that we have our little lead, which is, I think his name's Jonathan or something generic like that. Like the guy, just like the MC, the main boy or whatever, who shows up.
Oh, Ethan?
There you go. It's some generic like American name.
Yeah, that threw me off.
It was
too.
really bizarre.
That was one of those names that like stood out to me
like,
because
Ethan?
of how English it sounded.
Yeah, it was like really weird. I was like, all right, Ethan. Anyway, so he hits him up and he's like, "Whoa, are all y'all masterless Jedi too?" He's like, "The Force is strong here." And it was really cool seeing on rewatch how Juro in that droid armor was like, "I sense a lot of the dark side here," and I was like, "Oh boy, he's sussing him out." I didn't realize it was going to be an imposter thing until like later on. I didn't realize how many of them would be Sith, because apparently they replaced all the Jedis who took the call.
Yeah.
So that was the whole thing. I really liked the sabersmith talking to his daughter and her wielding one of the sabers and how it was like transparent and the length changed. That was so bizarre.
Yeah. I thought that was cool. I think that was supposed to reflect how
strong their connection is.
Well, not how strong, but I think also like which side she deviated towards.
Really?
Like the darker the light.
Well, I know it did that based off of color for sure, but the length threw me off. I'm like, well, why would someone need a smaller length if, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what that's supposed to represent. I mean, I think it was a really cool concept, but I wanted to know more about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting that she was just kind of neutral at the beginning. You know what I mean? She didn't lean towards more one or the other. It was really bizarre.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting how like colors changed throughout the course of a fight. I know you have some notes on it too. Especially that one guy at the end who looked kind of like an animal. How he
it was like almost like a furry horse.
It was like it was weird. It was a furry kind of character. But he was a Sith, or acting as a Sith, because he was consumed by their darkness. Yeah. And then when he went back to normal, it was purple. And I was like, whoa, okay, so he was really like a good guy after all. Because I thought everybody there besides Ethan was like a Sith, you know what I mean? Yeah. And the Margrave, of course. I thought it was tight how he hopped out the droid armor and pulling like a fast one on all the Sith, and then freaking just like totally took the lightsaber out of one of the Sith's hands, and it turned green like right then and there. I was like, that's so tight. Like, what if all the lightsabers in Star Wars universe were like that? Like, they were just could be wielded by anyone, and then like colors changed and stuff. That was really tight.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a great episode. I liked all of the kind of traditional like stuff with it, like the large. Star Wars is really known for its like super large equipment, and like whether it's excavator equipment or like those weird like they had catapults that were just huge. I don't know what they were chucking, but like seeing like, the girl interact with that. Yeah. And then riding one of those cruisers at some point, they're like, wow, this girl's strong on the Force, and she's getting chased and all that. That was really cool. It was like one of your trophy Star Wars adventures, but I really liked it. It worked for me. Another thing that I thought was interesting too was that really she called him Old Droid, and it was supposed to take over like the stereotype for like a really old man, like a wise old man in the village.
Yeah, he was just sitting there drinking oil.
That's what he was doing, right? Because it looked like the imagery looked like he was smoking a pipe, but you know it's a robot, you can't smoke. It would be weird. But yeah, he was like sipping on hot oil, right, to like lubricate him. It was so weird. And he's like, okay, don't rush me.
Yeah, like if he was drinking tea or something.
Yeah, and I was like, what? Wait, why are you designing robots that are designed to be old? And I was like, unless this is just a really old robot that takes on the features of an old man. It was so weird. Right. But I really liked it. The animation was great.
Yeah, I liked the fight scene.
Fight scene was really tight on this one. Yeah. This one stood out to me because I was just like, okay, yeah, I can get behind this. All the other stuff was good and good in its own way. This seemed like the more I don't know, I don't want to call it standard fare, but it was the most familiar Star Wars experience to me. So like I was able to latch on it really easily. So I was like, okay, this is tight.
Yeah, definitely.
I also saw the one after this. We don't have to get into it, but I also like the concept. It was like a robot becoming like a Jedi. It was like his whole dream. It was basically Astro Boy.
Yeah,
it was basically Astro Boy meets like Star Wars. It was essentially that was the whole freaking premise. That one was really tight. We don't have to get into it, but I'm just saying like that one was really cool as well, and like getting me into like maybe I should finish these. Because I stopped after that one. I was like, not everyone's a hit. Overall, would you like to see another season of this done?
Yeah, definitely. I think they've taken some creative chances and hit and miss with some.
Of course,
but
like you will.
Overall, like I think the coolest part is probably the animation.
Yeah, I really like seeing different styles and like different settings, of course. How extreme they can be with it. Really neat. Any other final thoughts on that episode?
No, that's
about it, right?
Yeah.
Well, Big Apple. We had ourselves a long episode today, but I loved it. That's gonna wrap it up for us. For Media Munchers, I'm Mathian.
And I'm Adrian.
We'll catch you next time.